Welcome back to Hurt Boxing. Today we're joined by Rhys Woods, who is a 6-2-1 25-year-old super welterweight who, whilst I think it's fair to say, whilst the record isn't, it's not like probably what you were dreaming of when you had your first 9 fights. It's actually, there's a lot more to it than what's on paper, really.
Yeah, yeah, you can say that. There's a lot tougher fights than what people would have took this early in the career.
Yeah. Because, so I was looking through it. So I saw 6-2-1, and I was like, all right, absolutely nothing wrong with that. No problem. Had a look, saw you beat Jake Goodwin. I was kind of like, all right, that's obviously the most recent fight.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's a really good win. A TKO win round two. I was like, that's a really good win.
yeah, yeah.
So I had a look back. It did look like your first loss to oh my god, my notes are sorry. So
Oh,
I've got my notes
Sir
on
John
a tablet
Bobo.
here. That's the one. Yeah, my notes have
Yeah,
just gone crazy for some. I don't know why, but okay. It did look like that was just a little bit of a it happens like a bit of a fluke almost. Not to, and
yeah.
obviously not to take it away
It
from
was,
him, but
no, it was just a bit of a weird night all round. Like it was on
mm,
a Channel 5 card, and we got put as a float. Um, then they'd come up to us and told us that we'd be ready for 9 o'clock. Go on, fight.
yeah,
Then said that they'd missed the gap because you're afloat. If you don't get in the gap, then you have to fight after the main event. So then Lyndon
okay,
Arthur walked. He fought. Then believe it was um, one of Anthony Crawler's fighters fought after that, and then I fought. I think it was around midnight or half 12, something like that.
yeah,
I fought. So it's just a long day, really.
yeah. I mean, but you've been kind of to an extent a bit of an underdog in a lot of your fights when you
A
look at
hell
it.
of a lot, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even the first one, which I know is against Van Push, but was it Van Push?
Yeah, Van
My
Pooch was the
note, I'm
debut.
gonna have to just my notes have gone crazy. I don't know what's going. Yeah, Van Push, yeah, but you gave up over a stone of weight in that.
Yeah, so it was just a case of the first opponent that we found pulled out,
Yeah.
and then we had a week. Me and manager had a week to find another opponent, and there was none. And he said,
Mm.
"You've got Van Pooch. You can take it, or you can wait for another show." But I'd sold enough tickets, quite a few, and I said, "Oh, I don't want to let all the fans down, and give the
Yeah.
tickets back." So we just took it. I think it was a light heavyweight contest, it ended up being.
Mm. But I mean, most people, yeah, at any level of boxing, whether it's debut to sort of world title fight, they're never giving up a stone of weight. I mean, that's a lot of weight. 14 pounds is a lot. I mean, that's divisions apart. It's like that in itself is pretty, that's pretty incredible to do. I mean, you're saying for your fans, and that's very respectable. But even so, it's like, oh my God. Like that, I mean, it's like, oh, geez. I wouldn't imagine there's many people that would do that, if I'm being completely
Um,
honest.
I think you're probably right. Yeah, I think a lot of people would have said no, just leave it and we'll we'll,
Yeah.
we'll get our debut another day. But um, I'd say I've never said no to a fight yet. I'll be honest with you. I just as soon as the phone call gets made and they say this guy wants to fight, or we've got this guy for you, yeah, no problem.
Yeah. You have the draw to Owen Kirk, which you don't believe is a draw, if I'm right.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't believe it was a draw. To tell you the truth. Have you watched the fight?
I didn't. No, I've
You have
seen.
watched
So
it.
I saw you against Jake Goodwin. I saw you against Lou Van Pooch. I always try and watch
Yeah,
first and last, or first and most recent.
his own sponsor team texted me after the fight
Yeah,
and said, "Oh, I don't know what went on there. You definitely won that." But it's just one of them things. You can't do anything. Can you? The referee's decision's final, so uh, it's just is what it is. I think hopefully somewhere down the line we're gonna get the rematch on. I think. And that's if we can get the weight sorted because he's gone up to like super middle now, and I'm super weller. It's like two divisions apart in it, but
yeah.
we can get the weight made.
Does that annoy you still then? If you want to do the rematch, does it still irk you a bit?
Uh, Not really, but I think he called me out after his last fight. He got stopped off Marcus Tomlinson in the second round. Got stopped with
Yes.
a body shot. And then he started calling me out in his post-fight interview. But it's a bit weird to do after you've just come off two
Yeah.
knockout losses in a row.
It's it's definitely a an interesting choice, but then we go to the Johnny Keeley fight, which was the Central Area title, which was I know was
Yeah,
before, but just sort of coming on to that. We did that. That must have because the first fight was a bit of a flash, like you said, it was a bit weird, all going on.
yeah,
Whereas
yeah, yeah,
Keeley was a bit more of a normal, from what I know, situation.
yeah.
Did
It
that
was. It
hurt a
was.
little bit more?
Um, it did. It did because it was for a title in the first title
Mm,
fight. But I knew when I first turned professional, I knew there was going to be bumps in the road because of my amateur background. I only had 6 amateur fights
ah,
before I turned pro, so I knew there was going to be bumps in the road. And to fight for a central area title so early on in my career and come up short against the better man on the night, no doubt.
yeah.
Um, then it's fine. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
just one of those things.
Well, I mean, it happens. I This is a big
Yeah,
thing in
I mean,
boxing where losses are
if it didn't, if
defining.
it didn't hurt, if you weren't upset about it, obviously you're doing the wrong job. You're not passionate about it.
Oh
But
yeah,
um, we just get back in the gym and carry on.
yeah. Well, losses are a part of boxing, and as much as people don't like that, you can't. Not everyone's gonna be undefeated or unbeaten, and that's the way it should be. People should lose. Everyone has to lose. Um, that,
100%. You look at I take it away from boxing. You look at UFC, and the best fight the best all the time. There's no
mm,
ducking each other. There's no I've got to keep my O on my record. The best
yeah,
fight the best, and then whoever wins wins. You know.
exactly. I mean, I think this is a big thing. It's a Floyd Mayweather sort of generated thing where the
Yeah, it is.
idea of having an O next to your name is so valuable. And then the problem is the fans have bought into it because it does look good. Don't get me wrong. It's like, oh, I've never been beaten. It's like, it's amazing. But everyone's bought into that idea now. So when you see someone with, say, 5 losses, that's not defining. I mean, 5 losses is a lot,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that's not
yeah.
a defining number. And it's like, there's still potential there. But with you, we've got
100%.
2 losses, but we've got 6 wins. And we've got your first knockout, which was against Jake Goodwin.
Yeah.
In the box off, which is another pretty big show. Is the final happening for that?
Um, well, we've been given a couple of dates. We were just waiting on confirmation, really. To be fair to you,
Mm,
we got told December, and then apparently they had the BBC involved, so they pushed it back to February.
okay.
But we still had no confirmation. So I think we're going to just get a fight in the meantime somewhere else on the
Yeah.
VIP show. Get a fight there, and then hopefully we'll get the final date somewhere in the next, first half of the year.
Yeah, I mean, because that'd be amazing. That's a great fight to be involved in. And it'd be a real
Yeah,
shame
because
if they didn't do it, especially
it would. You're right.
especially with you. I mean, I've not looked into a lot of the other fighters on there, but Jake Goodwin was, on let's look on paper, meant to beat you, and they
Hundred
clearly
percent.
they thought that because if you look at the promotion, I saw your name next to his name, but you didn't have any um, sort of individual posts or anything like that. Whereas Jake Goodwin was pretty much everywhere. You couldn't miss him. And I remember seeing
But
that, and then I saw you win. And I was like, that's proper underdog story. That.
to be fair, I think he does look like a poster boy, though, doesn't he? He's a good-looking
Oh
chap.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I can understand it, but it's good. It's good that you won. I mean, and the final again, it'd be like it's another chance to prove that you're not. I don't, for lack of better words, pushover. But that's obviously, you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I get that. No, but you're right. Definitely get
yeah.
get on the final of that. Win the final because
Mm,
I believe that the next fight, I think the guy is 3-2. He was 2-2 until he fought in the box off, and now he's 3-2. I believe he is not an easier fight because no fight's easy, but
Yeah.
on paper, an easier fight than Jake Goodwin.
Mm.
So I believe I go on and win that, and then you don't know where you can go from there.
Well, I mean, it's great coverage, and you should like I said before that Jake Goodman fight. I don't think the coverage for yourself was massive in what it maybe should have been from them, but for
Yeah,
this final, it should, and I imagine will be proper
yeah, yeah,
coverage and it's proper promotion. Which is something that'd be really good. And at your age, you're 25, right?
yeah,
Yeah. So 25, and then say you do get say this box. I mean, it should happen. The final does happen. You win the final. Then you're I don't know when your birthday is, but 25, 26, and you've got that under your belt. And it's like, it's a real sort of defining moment for you to then kick on and do more.
yeah. Push on, for that. That's just gives you a bit of publicity, especially if you get a BBC involved.
Oh, yeah.
Then the publicity is massive. So it just pushes your name out there, doesn't it?
Massively, massively. It will be interesting to see what's going on. I remember seeing that was everywhere, the box off, and then it's now just sort of flatlined a bit. So I'm kind of,
Yeah,
it's a bit weird. It's a bit weird, but I mean, I'm hopeful it does. It's a great idea. Who had
it
it's
is.
Boxing Social, was it that sort of, or Co came up with the idea? I don't
They
know
they
exactly, but
covered it, yeah, sort of
yeah.
thing.
But
Yeah, it really is.
it's great. It's good for the promoting of the sort of the guys that don't have 100,000 followers. And you're like, where the fuck has that come from? Um,
Well, that's it, innit?
but yeah. So you said you only had 6 amateur fights.
Yeah, I had 6 amateur fights. I won the Northwest Championship in that time, and then I think COVID hit,
Right.
and my amateur trainer at the time, who's now the second in the corner, is Shinny.
Yeah.
He said, why don't you turn pro? It'd be great. And he said, I think you've got a pro style because they're two different sports. Um, when you move from amateur to pro, they're completely different. Um, so he said, I think you got a real good pro style. Why don't you try it? So I sat and stewed on it for a bit, and I thought to
Yeah.
myself, if I get to 30 years old and I look back and I say to myself, could have done a bit, or what would have happened? You don't want any regrets in life. So I thought,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna do it. And up to now, touch wood, it's like you say, it's not an unblemished record, but I think it's a half decent record.
Yeah. It is, especially with the context. That's the thing. Once sort of got into it and read into it and found different parts about it, I was like, it's a very good record. It's just you, you just need that sort of that next step, and the box off final would be that next step. And
Yeah,
again,
100%.
I've said that a couple of times now, but I do really find it weird that it's just died down completely. It's like,
Yeah,
hmm.
I mean,
In your foot. Oh, sorry.
we've been in touch a couple of times with them, and they've just been saying different dates and different things. So we're just gonna have to
Hmm.
carry on with our career until something does come to fruition, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't want to be waiting around and then suddenly you're inactive. And
No, because it gets to March time, and it's 6 months out of the ring. So
yeah,
early on in your career, you don't need it, do you?
no, no. What I was gonna say, and I meant to do this at the start of every interview, but I forgot, and I've done that every single time, I think. So I have bookmarks. So I get the last interviewer, or last person I interviewed, to come up with a question for the next one. So
Okay.
in my last interview, Gian Oguz, who's a professional boxer like yourself, his question was, "Where do you see yourself in 2 to 3 years?"
Oh, that's a good question. I see
Hmm.
myself winning a couple of titles, Central area,
Yep.
maybe in English, and then pushing on. I say hopefully pushing on towards a British title.
I mean, that'd be
That,
amazing.
that that's the dream. That's the dream.
Yeah,
That
it's
for me is like my world title shot. Because everyone will say, "Oh yeah, I'll come in this game, or I'll win a world title," but realistically, getting to that British title level would be my world title shot.
yeah, and every British title fight just seems to be good. I love the
Yeah,
you
brings the
you
best
don't
out
miss
in
it,
both.
man. Mm. And it's probably the best looking one of the best looking belts there is. You know, which
100%. I mean,
I know that's aesthetic, but
they've reinvented the Central Area title belt now, and that looks half decent.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, they've reinvented it. It used to just be like a brown belt with like the English, similar to the English,
Yeah,
just a brown belt with the little badges in the middle. But now they've made it quite big.
one to win, one for the wall.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah. So my next part will then be for you to come up with a question for the next person that I interview, who I don't actually know who that is yet, but
Oh, okay. What got you into boxing?
what got you into boxing? Yeah,
Yeah,
I like that. It's good. That's always a good. And if I remember to do it at the start, that's actually a good one to keep to do. But I always forget, man. Especially, I don't know why. My brain just gets scrambled. I mean, it's not helped today. My notes have just been. I don't know what's going on.
right at the top of your notes.
But yeah, but we kind of covered. I mean, so your next fight you don't know because it's kind of trying to
Yeah,
sort
yeah,
something out. Yeah.
yeah.
So what we'll do is kind of go into a little bit more, slightly more fun, just easier questions, I guess. So first one would be like, how would you describe yourself in sort of 3 words?
Yeah, easy going. Um, Determined. I like to say fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good. When you said easy going, I was like, for a boxer, easy go. Like, as in, I was expecting like killer or that kind of stuff. You're very real. You're very
I'm very easygoing person. You only have to be like that when you get inside the ring, don't you?
yeah, true. Yeah, actually, that's a very good point. You don't, and it's not good for you to be like that all the time. Surely not.
Don't need to live your life like that. No, no, definitely not.
Mm. So you said, sorry, just going back a little bit. You said about COVID, and you did your amateur fight, and then you went into COVID time
Yeah,
where you were thinking about turning over. Is that right?
yeah. So it's like 2 years out because there was no small all shows or anything, was there? There was
Yeah,
only like behind the scenes, like matchroom shows.
yeah,
So it's like 2 years out, and then I don't believe the amateurs started back after 2 years. I think they had another a few months or maybe a year, another year out. But
mm,
I could have stayed amateur up until now really, and got a load more fights in, load more experience, but just decided to go for it.
yeah. It's respectable. Did you struggle during COVID, where you probably couldn't get into your gym and
Uh, no, it was okay actually because my trainer now, Ryan, um, I went round to his. I know you weren't supposed to, but I went round to his house. Training in the back garden and things like that. So
yeah?
going out on my own runs and stuff like that, really. Just
Okay,
keeping my mind active because I enjoy the sport. Whether I've got a fight coming up or not, I'm always in the gym. I enjoy it.
yeah. How long? So how long have you actually been involved in boxing? 'Cause 6 amateur fights isn't years worth of.
6, maybe 7 years, 6 or 7 years, I think.
Okay.
I think
Have you?
I had my first amateur fight when I was 19. I'm
So
25 now, so I
yeah,
had
okay.
2 years out, obviously. So what's that? What we on? 6 years. So it's 4 years
All right.
worth of fighting. But then before that, I was training.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Did you, before you started boxing, have any interest in it?
Yeah, my granddad used to box in the army actually.
All
Um,
right.
but I never heard any. I never got to ask him because I was too young when he passed away. But
Mm,
my mum used to tell me stories, and I always fancied having a go at it. And I went down the gym just for fitness, really,
yeah.
um, just to try it. And then my amateur coach said, "Oh, why don't you join the amateur team and have a go at it?" And I'm one of them. When I try something, I have to try it all the way.
Yeah.
So I'd go, and then it's cliche, but you catch the bug,
Mm.
um, and then it's just escalated from there.
Did you watch any boxing on TV then, or was it just
Not really. I do now. I
no?
watch it all the
Oh
time, but
yeah,
not really. No, no.
it's interesting. So it must have just been that one day or one story or something that just went. All right, now I'm going to do this now. We'll give it a go. Yeah.
Yes, I just went down. Just I was I used to play football a lot. I used to play goalkeeper in football. And I finished football, and I was stuck for things to do. I went to the gym, put on a load of weight. Used to lift a lot of weights. Went up to 90 kilo,
Oh,
and then I thought to
big.
myself, "What? Yeah, what can I do now?" Boxing. I
Yeah.
thought I'm gonna have a go at that now. Because
Well,
my mum's well against it. She hates everything to do
nah,
about it.
yeah.
But then when I turned 18, I decided to go down to the gym.
Who do you support in football?
Sport.
Who do you
Well,
support?
the local team Stockport County, but
Oh
I
yeah,
like Man United. But I
they're
like
your
Man United.
sponsor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've seen it.
But Premier League, I like Man United.
Ah, and that's the wrong choice, but that's all right.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah,
Have
man.
you got a Liverpool badge in the back there?
Yeah,
Who's that?
that's Liverpool, man.
Are you watching the game?
No, not right now. I
I've
want.
just been watching it. I'll be honest, you're
We're
getting
getting
spanked,
battered.
but
I've heard.
they're
I've
not
heard.
they're not scored yet.
No, I don't know. It's almost good. I don't like watching this. The idea of watching this right now without Salah is like, but it
And
doesn't.
Van Dijk, where's Van Dijk? Is he injured?
I have no idea. I
All right.
was when I woke up this morning. I was like, yeah, Van Dijk. Well, in my head, I was thinking Van Dijk's not playing, but he is playing. And then I checked the team. No clue.
He's not on the bench, right?
No, maybe he's pulled. I don't know. I beg he
Yeah.
hasn't though. I mean, that'll trash us. But oh. Are you Ten Hag in or Ten Hag out?
Um, don't know really. I don't know what the answer is to that team at the minute.
No.
To be honest, it looks some games they turn up, they look okay, and then
Yeah.
some games they turn up, they're awful. But the finishing's not there. I don't know where the finishing's gone.
Yeah, you don't. What's his name? Hoyland doesn't get any. He doesn't get anything. Nothing to work with.
No,
So
I think
feel
he's
bad for him.
scored one Prem goal on in like
Yeah.
1,000 minutes or something. It's not a striker at the top of his game, is it?
No. And you played in goalie.
Yeah,
Were you any good?
yeah, I like to think so. Yeah, yeah, I like to
No.
think so.
How tall are you?
6 foot.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I mean, that makes more
It's not
sense.
massive for a keeper, really, but um,
No, just super welter's not a heavy weight. So in my head, I always think maybe 5'7". But now I'm thinking about it when I watched you against Goodwin, you did look like fairly tall. So yeah, that makes sense. But
Goodwin's about 6 foot as well. I think might be a bit taller. It's
no, he's got everything.
everyone just strips the weight, don't they? Everybody.
Yeah. I yeah. Do you find that hard dieting?
You know what? I don't really balloon up when I've not got a fight coming up. I go up to about 75. So day before weighing is 69.8. So it's nearly 70 kilo.
Yeah.
So 5 kilo is not a lot to shred off, really.
Okay.
Some guys are doing 10.
Yeah. I mean, that's. I do think there's a point where it's too much, and you're starting to like take water out of your body where you really need it.
You don't
And
need to. 100%. I mean, people are stripping weight that much that they're putting their own lives at risk. I know
mm,
you are anyway, but even more so. And
yeah,
then
it's
it,
unnecessary.
it can damage your on the night, your performance. It
Mm,
damages your performance because all you're doing after you've weighed in is trying to rehydrate that much
yeah.
that you're just ballooning yourself back up.
Have you seen the videos of the UFC guys? And they're just ghosts when they're doing this dehydration stuff because they weight cut like crazy.
Yeah,
So
they're
they're
mad.
oh, is that something you'd ever do? MMA?
No, it's bad
No,
enough getting punched in the face. I don't think I'd like to be kicked and elbowed and
yeah.
the rest of it. May as well just go and have a fight on the street, aren't you?
I genuinely, I never understand boxing. I understand how people get into and everything about it, but MMA, I'm like, oh my god, how do people even start to go? Oh yeah, that's what I want to do now. So it's
Yeah,
crazy sport.
yeah. There's people from all different backgrounds, isn't there? Wrestling and jiu-jitsu and
Yeah, it's cool, but it's crazy.
it's brutal, isn't it? It's brutal,
Yeah.
really is.
But then there's a stat about it, which is in the UFC, they've never had any. I don't think anybody's ever died in the UFC that like from a
Yeah.
fight when you compare it to boxing. So I think technically it's safer, but then
Oh, man.
I think that's because the boxing stat includes every single show sort of in boxing, whereas UFC only has the UFC. There's other MMA stuff. So I don't know. But it's interesting. They just seem to have a very their refereeing's meant to be very good, but I don't know enough about UFC. I like it, but
It's weird, isn't it? You see people get knocked out on the feet and they lie on the back, and then somebody runs over, jumps on them, and starts smacking them in the face even more.
yeah,
It just not doesn't make sense to me.
nah. I also I know I'll hear people sort of go, oh, he's doing this move and this move. I don't understand how you can watch someone hit someone. I know they call it striking, but it's really whatever. They fall, and then you're doing wrestling, and you can tell what move they're going for. I'm like, what? I don't.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Uh,
weird, isn't it?
it's completely off topic, but oh, I don't think I've got anything more to talk about. I mean, again, it's really the box off final. That's what I was really like wanting to know about because again, just want it to happen for yourself and for fans as well. It's really good. So,
Yeah, because I think if they could make that a regular thing, it's like
mm,
the boxer series was really good, weren't it?
mm,
And it kick-started Dylan Chambers' career, really did. So I believe this could do the similar thing for me.
yeah,
But like I said, really hope it happens.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing I was sort of keen on finding out about because I saw that you were in it. I was like, oh, didn't realize, and then had a look, and I was like, oh, it's a shame. It's a shame, but yeah. Um, so I am a little bit ill, so I'm just trying to hold it all together. But there we go. It's gone. Uh, I've got no more questions or anything really to ask or come up with on the spot. So, have you got anything you want to shout out or?
Shout out to all my sponsors that helped me. Shout out to my family, my friends. That's it, really, mate. See ya.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, I'm going to say that's the interview done then. I've enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.